What I've really learned in the past year and a half is how to be vulnerable.
Today, our special guest is Lonny Green.
So you want to know how to create a great team.
How to create a team, and
right?
I want the secrets.
Yeah. What we do when we go to work every day has nothing to do with Botox. That happens to be our tool.
You could find him as Ninja Injector on Instagram.
I've had other owners say, boy, you spend your budget on lunches for your team is crazy. I go, it's the best money I've ever spent. It's time for us to be together. We hope that patients who come to us are more than just getting the aesthetic treatment. They want to make a statement that this is where I go.
I agree with you.
How do you get in shape? Do you go to the gym for 9 hours one day and say I'm in shape?
No.
It's every single day. We're better today than we were yesterday, but we better be better tomorrow than we were today. We dream of a world where everyone wakes up confident in their own skin.
We have our why.
I think I know your why.
Okay.
And if you want to know your why, you know how you find out?
If you are an aesthetic injector, a nurse, a doctor, a dentist, or clinic owner, please sit back and relax. But remember, like every treatment, this podcast comes with a risk. You may end up becoming very successful. Welcome, Lonny.
Thank you, Felix. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. I have a great topic with you to discuss about today. And in the interest of full transparency, we already talked about this briefly over the weekend.
Of course.
And I loved it. We shared books. We went deep into it. We went forth and back. And I loved the conversation with you. Very, very smart and bright man. So I'm happy you can share all your wisdom with our audience. Let me start with the first question. Who is your team?
Who is my team? My team is my professional team is a squad of folks who are exceptional, caring, and giving. They comprise a practice manager who just does everything. I have guest relations team that really are the forefront of the forward-looking people in our group to really put that first impression in it. And I have some sensational injectors and sensational estheticians. So that compromises my team, and each of them play a pivotal role. It's a pretty horizontal organization chart. Everyone's equally important.
Let me quickly summarize it. How many people are working for you in total?
So it's now currently 14.
14. And how many people are at the front desk?
So I will just preface that or answer that by saying there's no one who's a front desk. They're our guest relations team.
Yes, good.
They're not a staff because staff is an infection.
Yeah.
Right. So it's important to us to call them our guest relations because words are important, and that's exactly what they are. They're guest relations. Long answer. So we have an amazing guest relations team. Christina, Thasia. We have Jasper, we have Kara, we have Dana, and we have Logan. And they are the heart and soul of the people who make such a big impact and interaction with our patients, experiencing, touching them. They're just amazing.
And then you have like 3 injectors. And if I count correctly, it's 4 or 5 left now. Who's that?
So our providers are, I'm an injector. I have a Jade Ramadan, who's a sensational injector. Rebecca Holmes is a wonderful injector. They're just great people. Carly is our cool sculpting expert, also an esthetician by training, Carly Francis. And so those are our providers on our first floor. Yeah. On the second floor, we have Hannah and we have Sam, who are both estheticians of outstanding quality. So those are our clinical providers. Everyone else supports them.
So it's in total clinical providers. If we include the beauticians, it's 6 roughly, and then like 6 or 7 admin, guest relation manager, and people who working towards the medical providers.
Yeah, and that ratio, Felix, is something that we didn't plan. As we grew, we needed more help, and we decided as we go along, we figure out where everyone fits, and also what ratio we need to keep the level of service, because that is our first priority, the patient. Yeah.
So the question, what is a great team, very much depends on what you're doing. If you would build streets or construct houses, the definition of a great team is probably something else than what we're doing. And I think there's something we all need to know, and we discussed this, is our why, right? Why are we doing that? And why do we need to know that? Because we have to guide our team towards that one vision, right? What is your why, and how did you implement your why into your team?
Sure. Well, you touch upon a very important topic, because if you truly are going to be a leader and desire to create a great team, you have to not just know your why, but you have to have, some people call it a vision statement. I like Simon Sinek's version of a just cause. And the reason that's so important is because building a great team starts with you as the leader. And if you are building a team because you want to make a profit, if you're building a team because you just have this desire to build businesses, if you're trying to create a team because you want to, I don't know what, you will never build a great team. You will get people to work for you and work for a paycheck, and you can pay them well, and they'll work, but they'll never be inspired. So to be a great leader, you have to believe in something, not just your why, but a cause that is so just that you would do anything to make that cause. And that cause, that just cause, has some specific criteria that have to be present, because I've heard vision statements, I've seen why or mission statements that are, in my opinion, just missing the mark a little bit. My why is something I knew at a young age. I believe everyone has only one why. My why is to help others. It's pretty simple, to help others. And for a long time, that was our mission statement. Well, it's still actually my mission statement when I first started. I had an MBA, and I did the whole 4-paragraph mission statement, and I really kept whittling it down. It kept getting shorter and shorter the more I educated myself about leadership. And finally, if I don't know, do you guys have a mission statement, Felix?
We have our why.
Yeah.
We said why we're standing up in the morning, and that this is to make people feel better about themselves. That's our company's why.
Perfect.
I have a different why, probably, and we had a lovely meeting yesterday and found out all of my people have a different why, but if you have a closer look, it all pays into the one major why. We make people feel better about themselves.
Great. Well, you passed the test. I would, no doubt you would. The point of that is, if you can't recite your why, if people don't know your why, it's probably not permeating through the issue. So my why is to help others, and our why was our mission, and I called it our mission back then, was to help others. And I think that's good. That's a good start. But I've seen other people write that, my mission is to train the best nurses and make my nurses the best, but that can't be your why. You weren't born with that, and you can't change your why. I just naturally want to help others. But this thing called a just cause is something that your team has to believe in, and they have to have a belief so strong that they share it with you. It becomes their belief. Because if it's only my belief, that there's no way I'm going to be a leader. I can have authority, but I won't be a leader. So a just cause has to have a couple of things. It has to be resilient. And again, quoting from Simon, resilient meaning there's a cause so just that you will do anything for it, and it's a vision of what you want to achieve in the future, and you'll never achieve it, but you will die trying. You will really keep going for it. So resilient means it has to withstand changes in politics, changes in technology, changes in culture, all those things. It has to stay that way. So if your just cause is to create the greatest technology company in the world, it's not going to work, because technologies change. And it has to be inclusive. So in terms of a just cause, the reason that you exist, your organization exists, has to be inclusive, that if it's a vision that everyone can join rather than just making the best camera, it's creating a world where everyone wakes up confident in their skin. Everyone can be included. Inclusivity in the workplace for us means that we are a very safe space. We don't bias on race or gender or ideology. We are very open and we promote that. And I think having that safe space has really also helped us grow, because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? And it's part of our whole mission, and part of our just cause and our vision is you can't have everyone in the world wake up confident in their own skin, except if you're lesbian. It doesn't work, right? So everyone waking up in their own skin is everyone. Yeah. Everyone. Yeah. And a safe space is really important.
And every dog.
Oh, more the better. As I've witnessed, yeah. Some people are really crazy about dogs. Yeah, no, love the dogs. We dream of a world where everyone wakes up confident in their own skin. So that's not going to change in culture. And it's everybody. Everybody wants to wake up confident. And it's of service. It's not about us. It has to be about them.
That's my definition of success. I'm always saying success is not money and companies and fame. Success is waking up as a happy, healthy, and fulfilled person in the morning. Yes. And going to bed.
Yes, absolutely.
The same.
100%. Yeah. So if you have that, and that is really, you hold everything in your company up to that and judge it by that, the people who believe in that will stay with you. And the people who are working for a paycheck eventually will not. So everyone at Rêvée, that's the name of the MedSpa, Rêvée, is working towards that just cause. So if it's an extra time they have to stay or an extra thing they put in, it's okay because they believe in what we're doing. We're not in the business of Botox or fillers or lasers, and they know that. That happens to be our tool. But we go to work every day inspired to create a world where everyone wakes up and confident in their own skin. And it's important for the leader to elucidate that, and you have to expand on it. So I firmly believe that when my patient leaves and she's, got 2 kids, she's got a husband, she's so harried, and when she feels better about herself, no matter what I did, she is going to treat her kids a little better, her husband a little better, and those kids are going to treat other people better, and we're increasing the cosmic karma of the universe, if you will. And I really believe that, like in my heart and soul. And so what we do a lot of things in the community, and it has nothing to do with aesthetics, but the team gets it. Yep. And that's how you do it.
How do you recruit people? How do you find out if people believe what you believe? Let's assume I'm applying for a job, sitting here with you. Now, how do you find out if I have the same belief that you have?
That is a great question, Felix. I don't know the answer, but I've gotten better at it. I would say that over time, as you become someone who recruits people, you start to get a feeling if they are drawn to that passion. I don't always get it right, but I do know when I get it wrong. And so people become engaged in what you do. They go the extra mile. They get it. And I don't know the answer, but I know that you can sort of get to know a person. And it's tough. We used to only do interviews. Now we have people come in for a day and they spend a day with us. And over the course of the day, we actually run by almost, and we're not a very big or the biggest organization, but it has to be unanimous. If someone really has a feeling because of the time they spent, we bring that person back and do a second day. And is that onerous? Well, maybe, but there's a feeling we all get because we all have it. Mm-hmm. And so it's not as tangible as XYZ, but I can tell you that one of my favorite stories is, my medical assistant now, KP, Christina, who started at Guest Relations, way back when we kind of needed someone at the quote unquote front desk, Guest Relations back then. And we had someone apply who was an Army veteran. She was young, but she'd been in the Army for a couple of years. She was bilingual. She spoke Spanish. She had phlebotomy skills. She had been in the aesthetic business. And we had interviewed Christina. And Christina was a stay-at-home mom of 4 girls, and had never worked in aesthetics, hadn't worked in a bunch of years. She was a waitress before. And we brought them in, and my practice manager said, what's the story? When are you going to make a decision? And I just delayed, and I called them each, and finally I called Christina one day, and she said, Dr. Green, what else can I tell you? And that question, it was my gut. I didn't make my decision with my brain, but she's turned out to be a superstar. So there's something about your gut, which is actually your limbic brain, as you and I have talked about. So sometimes you just know, and sometimes you get it wrong, but that's okay.
Do you think I agree with you, and a lot of the personalities and values and whatever you find out on the go, but isn't there some kind of interview techniques to get closer to at least this question? Right? I like to work with these. So I have this concept of asking people how they plan and execute their holidays. And the ones who say, well, I go in the internet and find nice places and check the prices and check flights and flight prices. These are probably lions, because lions love to organize. The ones who said, oh, cool, holidays. I jump on a flight and go to Fiji, for example. That's a cheetah. Cheetah wants action. The ones who says, oh, I have so many ideas. Florida, mountains, Switzerland, India. And a week later, you ask them, well, have you made a decision on where you go? No, I have another idea. It's probably Mongolia. Next day you call them and say, no, I changed from Mongolia back to... That's a fox. Fox are full of ideas. And the ones who says, well, I would go there where my friend goes, my partner, or my spouse, that's a beer. A beer is into relationships. Relationships are important to beers. So that's how I try to find some kind of personalities or parts of the personality of people. Most of the people have different aspects. And because I believe you should focus on what people, not what people can do, what people will do, right? So I'll give you an example. Ashley is full of action, full of ideas, and she's something between cheetah and fox. But she wouldn't be good in controlling or running the daily business. Ashley has to be the marketing team or event team because she's full of action and ideas. And so that's the way I do it a little bit.
Sure.
But I like this question because it gives me some kind of sense where the values could lie for this person. And the question is not very transparent, so it's hard to cheat on that question. So I like that one to get at least a feeling. In your case, I would love to have a beer, right? A beer.
Yeah.
Because they are very much towards relationships, and relationships are important to them because we are in the business of relationships. And maybe some of the others would be good as well as an add-on. But do you have any kind of techniques to find a little bit out about?
Well, I can tell you it's interesting. I mean, my practice manager, Lauren Sawyer, she fits all those bills, but she's more of one versus the other. Yeah. You and I have shared a recent book about technicians, managers, and entrepreneurs. And I think there's some similarities there. So Lauren is a perfect match for me because she is more the manager. She's more the person who fills in line, but she is an esthetician by training, has that technical part, and she also has people skills. So how do I find that? I think the short answer for anyone listening is trust your gut, because if you're the right person and you have these kind of beliefs, you will feel something. But recognize how much you need a skill set, recognize how much you want more one of the other. But it's not all or none, Felix. You can't have great relationship building, but not pay attention to detail when it comes to patients, right? So I don't think any of us, because as you spoke about that, given enough time, I'll plan the heck out of a trip. But if someone says, hey, you're off next week, you want to go to Italy, I'm like, I'm all in. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, sure.
So we all have different parts. I in the short time I've gotten to know you, I've seen many parts of you. I think you talk a lot to me about your entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurial. You do love to create. I mean, you just love to create. But you also, any challenge, you're going to dig down and get in the weeds. As witnessed recently, I think you're doing that right now. So with what's going on, so don't you feel like you relate to that? How do you answer that question?
I'm very much driven. I'm a cheetah and a fox and a little bit of lion. I'm not very much bear. I'm not very much related to relationships. And that's why, I'm looking forward to the inner circle, because we'll work through all that and reflect on who we are. And if I'm very honest with you, I'm a typical entrepreneur. I'm living in the future. I'm working on new plans. And for me, it's super, super difficult, business-wise, to live in the here and now and do the daily business. I'm not the type of guy who enjoys going down to the teams, being with them, sharing the daily challenges. And that's a big weakness of me, because that makes it very difficult for me to implement this. We share the same idea, right? We want brilliance. We were talking about Four Seasons, Mandarin Oriental, all these super, super hotels, which are not only a logo, which are a brand, right? And why people are willing to pay above the substitute. And the big questions we both have, how to get there. And I think you are very good at that, while you believe what you believe, and you have obviously, and I tried to find out today, obviously skills to implement that into your team and make the entire clinic a spirit. And I tried everything. We have a spirit book, we have a restaurant, and so on. But something is maybe missing, that I'm not able to transport that into 140 people, or not to the extent I would like to.
Sure. Well, for the record, you're selling yourself a little short. I'm just here to say, Felix, you are definitely into relationships. It's just not quantity. For you, it's quality.
Yes. Okay. Let's say it that way.
Yeah. I think you're a very caring person. We've developed a relationship, even though we never spoke before.
Yeah.
So I sense that you do. It's just you have your inner space, your inner circle. Maybe there's a reason they came up with the name Inner Circle, right? Maybe. Absolutely. Yeah. So, So I think that you mentioned some of your failings, and maybe that's why we get along so well, because your strengths are my weaknesses. You see, I look at you and I see someone who has a passion for excellence, 100%, yet you're able to execute. I mean, look what you've done. You've grown. You don't open a restaurant. You open a 2-star restaurant. You're doing this podcast. I was sharing with Ash before. I want to do a podcast, but I haven't gotten off the dime. So I'm attracted to your skills in executing your ideas. I'm also a visionary, but I also probably spend too much time with the technician because I love patient care. We have our things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But how do you manage to, let's get back to the team. How do you manage to implement your beliefs? Now, we have a recruiting phase. You have luck most of the times, sometimes maybe not, but you got this great team. How do you maintain this quality, this idea? And we discussed some things over the weekend, like we think of maybe implementing that as well, like having this kick-off 20 minutes Monday morning, or having lunch. Well, I love these ideas. Lunch once a month, and cell phones are not allowed. We all come together for lunch. And let me know more about that. How do you implement this?
So you want to know how to create a great team.
How to create a team, and I want the secrets.
Yeah, okay.
We're here to deliver gold for our listeners.
How do you get in shape? Do you go to the gym for 9 hours one day and say, I'm in shape?
No.
You go to the gym 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, you go your bike ride, and you're not in shape the first day.
By the way, you went on the bike ride.
You killed me. You and Malta, you killed me.
Now, guys, he hasn't done cycling for 10 years. And may I name your age?
Oh, yeah, 62.
Absolutely. And this badass went with me and Malta cycling here in Switzerland, and he really paced through. Yeah. We had an average speed of 24 kilometers per hour, which is insane for someone.
I was crying too hard to worry about the average speed. No, listen, I felt very privileged and honored, and I'm sorry that slowed you down, but it was a lot of fun. No. It was wonderful. I loved every minute, even the clip-on stuff, which I managed. Yeah. But the point of that is, one day it doesn't happen. So my point about this is it's every single day. Everything you do, you have to walk the walk, you have to talk the talk, and you do have to be inspiring. You have to talk about your vision, your just cause. You have to talk about it. And we do it by a series of things. I'm going to give you some specifics. I know you want specifics. Number one, we have a daily huddle for 20 minutes before we start the day. Everyone, we have a chance. Lauren runs it. She's the practice manager. She goes through some numbers, logistics, patients of the day, but then we have some space and time to just talk. It's not much, but it's enough that we just bond. We're together. So that's number one. Number two is we do have a lot of lunches together. And some people, I've had other owners say, boy, you spend your budget on lunches for your team is crazy. I go, it's the best money I've ever spent. It's time for us to be together. Sometimes we do manage to be all together. Sometimes it's sporadic, but it's important to be together. And as I said, we used to have lunch and learn twice a month. And then one day I said, you know what? On the second lunch and learn, we're not going to make it learn. It's just lunch. Nobody brings their cell phone. We bring in lunch and we just sit for an hour. There's no agenda. There's no topics. And we just talk. Yeah. The other thing is our just cause, our why and our just cause do not end at our front door. It is really important to me. We have 2 events every year where we choose, because we have an end of summer party, which is coming up, and we have a holiday party. We choose
for employees or for
everyone.
Yeah.
So we choose usually it's a nonprofit in the community that has a mission that we want to support. We throw the party. So we ask our vendors they donate Botox and fillers and cool sculpting cycles. We pay for the entire party. And to give you an example, this year, it grows every year. We're going to have, our place is very big. So we'll have 2 tents, we'll have 2 different food trucks, we'll have live music, we'll have a tattoo artist, a henna artist, balloon animals, face painting, a petting zoo, my personal favorite. And people come in, they make a $10 donation to this school called Anna Julia Cooper, and they get all that other stuff for free. So why do we spend so much money? And our raffle, so the vendors donate the products, we put them in raffle baskets. This year, and we do the services for free, so whatever services, this year we will have over $15,000 in our raffle baskets. So people who come can either just give a $10 donation. Most people put money in the raffle baskets because they know it's a win-win, right? And this school that we're supporting is amazing. This gentleman, Mike Maruka, he's like my hero. He was a middle school teacher in a private school in a very comfortable suburb and decided he wanted to use his life to help kids in a part of Richmond that was very underprivileged, underserved, low socioeconomic status. So he brought a group of teachers there and they started at a little schoolhouse. And these kids would otherwise, they come from usually government housing, somewhat chaotic and sometimes violent background homes. They go to a public system that's not very good. And instead they get this world-class education. It's grown to this huge thing. So everything we raise is for them. And so I take my team, we visited the school. In past years, we supported a free farm. We went and worked on the farm. So this is what we do.
But does this help to create this spirit within a team? Is that
It's because they see that we're not there to put Botox in faces. What does Anna Julia Cooper have to do with aesthetics? These are kids. It has everything to do with our just cause. It has nothing to do with Botox. That's the point. It doesn't end at our front door. What we do when we go to work every day has nothing to do with Botox. It's about creating a world where everyone wakes up confident in their own skin. Think about these kids. Their life trajectory is completely changed. And if they have a better education, a better start in life, they're going to be more confident people. So it's about what we do. It has nothing to do with Botox.
Well, that's great. But how do you link that to the needs of, it's very ethical and all this is perfect. But how, by end of day, we also need to earn money, right? So I'll get you, and probably you will do, but it has its limits with just caring for people and make them feel better, on this kind of level. At the end of the day, they have to pay their bills, and they have at least to pay. You have to pay your bills,
right? No margin, no mission, right?
Absolutely.
So I totally get that. It's not my forte, the business side. I have learned that if you are focused on the dollars, you are subject to price competition and everything else. But if you're focused on absolute, unbelievable customer experience, in our case, a patient experience, the dollars will fall.
Yes,
will follow.
Agree.
So we recognize that we want to keep our schedules full, but we never, ever, ever have a sale. We never have a discount. Nothing. Yeah, it's a race to the bottom. And we do really quality work, and we are passionate. And Felix, I'm not looking for every patient who needs our services. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested for patients who believe what we believe. And if you have buy one syringe, get one half off, you will definitely manipulate people. And I'm not using...
Absolutely. No, I agree 100% with you. And I have the same experience. I have this care system for me, create friendships. That might mean physical friendships with some kind of, I invest the first few minutes to create some kind of personal relationship with the patient. Then the awe-inspiring, the care is create friendships, awe-inspiring assessment, then radiant treatment, and then aftercare. Because I think that's very important as well, having a new touch point with your patient. However, same experience like you. I'll do that the best I can with all my heart. And often even patients go out and have paid nothing because I can't do anything for them or whatever. And the money comes in. But when it gets to the business at our scale, you have to make it. You have this kind of budget, and you have to make the decision where to put it. And you can have like we pay trainings for our staff. We pay high salaries. We have a bonus system. We have we have a good onboarding, and we couldn't, for example, cut off 1 hour per week for meetings. I can give you the price tag for that. It would be 50,000 per month, and easily with 1 million per year. Or one other colleague said to me, why don't you close the clinic for one day to have entire party? We can say, okay, it's 80,000. You can put a price tag on that. Just saying with that, we could do that, of course, but then we have to skip something else. This entire thing of working for free or cutting off hours from our core business gets to a limit somewhere. That's what I want to say. That's what I'm struggling with. Because our people ask for some more breaks, and we should have more meetings during the working hours and so on. And or what is the problem if a patient doesn't show up? Oh, sorry, I forgot to send out the bill. It's not a problem. And if you add that up, you get to millions per year. I know a hospital which is losing 5 million per year because they're just laissez-faire. You know what I mean? So at the one hand side, I'm agreeing with everything you say. But on the other hand side, you need this kind of spirit and sense that everyone understands we have these 8 working hours per day, and that's the only chance to earn the money. Whether one patient is leaving with nothing, that's not a problem, but the next one will cover that because he has a big treatment. But that's what I always mostly see. Either one injector or clinic is at this end very laissez-faire, and then the books are not that impressive, or they are totally after the money, and then they might have great margins, but people are not happy in leaving. I'm trying to balance this out to find, as you know, we have the restaurant. This is one thing I believe in, because I believe that's the moment we all have this. As you said, lunch is important. It's the 1 hour we can chat, we eat, and we feel good. It's our way of we feel good in our skin. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's a challenge sometimes to find the borders. Yeah. Where is stop? Where do we have to get our mindset back into business?
You might be missing the cost, though. You see, I don't agree with you, respectfully.
Of course, no.
There is a cost to shutting down the business. And for instance, in October, my entire team, except for me, because we're closing on a work day. We're not going to see patients. They've rented a van. They're going out to Charlottesville. They're going to a spa. They're going to have treatments. Then they're going to a winery. There's a cost to that. But Felix, let me ask you, what is the cost of turnover? What is the cost when someone quits suddenly? What is the cost of people coming to you for a paycheck instead of for a belief? Are you inspiring them every day? Are you inspiring everyone? Because those people tend to stay. And not only do they stay longer and with you, but when they're there, they are there. They're not there because of your paycheck. And if you if they're working for a paycheck, the next job that has a better paycheck,
of course. Right.
But if you inspire them, if they're working for a belief, they won't even answer the call from the headhunter. So that's the difference.
I'm not saying we're not doing these things. We're doing them differently. Right? We have the Oktoberfest. A bunch of our doctors are coming tonight to the Italian restaurant.
Sure.
5 doctors are at Inner Circle, and they sisters, and they don't have to pay for it.
Right.
So we do a bunch of stuff. I'm just saying, we were talking about margins, right? And if you want to sustain in the business and at this scale we are in, we need a certain margin. Otherwise, we can't invest in new lasers. We can't invest in this or that. So it's sometimes, I'm 100% with you, but it's, if we were closed for a day, it's 80,000 gone. And then so I'll search for ways how to keep both. And, the interesting thing was the guy who did the same, or another clinic said, we just closed. They're not profitable. They're just not profitable.
Yeah.
And the good thing is there was the need to be profitable because it was owned by insurance. And we had these kind of discussions, right? And at some point, you need to be profitable. Otherwise, you won't get bank loans. Otherwise, you can't grow if you want to grow. And otherwise, you can't reinvest in stuff. So, that's sometimes a challenge to find this balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's no black or white to it. So for us, and I haven't scaled to the level you have at all. So for us, it has been a very successful journey. We've grown every single year. We continue to grow. But so you're right. There is a cost, and you just have to find that balance. But I think the take-home message that I would impart is that it's not the holiday party, and it's not sending them to a spa, and it's not just lunch. It's getting in shape. It's going to the gym. Yeah. So it's every single day you have to walk the walk and inspire people.
I agree with you. And you will see once you scale, it's getting much more complicated because you can't, you see your people every day. You come in with a smile and with your power and with your spirit. And that's a totally different game than having like 5 clinics and just not see the people every day, right? Not even in my clinic here. But it's interesting to share thoughts and to brainstorm. I mean, many big companies struggling with that. And then instead of you as the single person, other instruments have to come in place. Leadership, culture. What is the culture of the company? In my opinion, culture comes from cult. Yeah. Why do people want to work for Apple or Nike? Because it's a brand, and it's cult to work there because they have a certain. I don't know what the working environment there is, but I'm just guessing, or Google, that they have special settings to attract people.
Yeah, I think
to work for them because they have some kind of why, and they manage it to get it away from Sergey Brin and what's the second guy who's earning Google down to a broad level of thousands of people working for them, right?
Yeah, well, we've talked about, you and I mean, what inspired me about, coming here and talking to you and getting to know you is, again, a lot of things, but one of the execution. But I do believe that you can, and I'm maybe naive, but I think you can instill that in a culture and somehow get it bigger. I think it's very tough. I'm learning from you a lot.
No, you can definitely, but as you said, it's tough and it's a journey, and I think it needs probably time to. What I found it's a very interesting discussion because I found out you start as a single practice and you start growing, and you literally do see people following you because it's still the family style. They see you every day, they enjoy it, they share your beliefs. Then you get to the next point, and you will see 50% will leave because for them it's not the family style anymore. It's a different thing. And they don't feel comfortable anymore. They don't have this spirit we had 2 years ago. And then, let's say 10 people leave and 15 come new, and you take the next step with them. And then you get to the stage we are now, maybe, and then you see again a bunch of people will leave because the style is not what they want. Or the leadership structure is not really set. The 3 guys below us, 4 might be great, but the 5th hasn't understood the the why or whatever, or is not able to lead the team, and then it drops. So that's the challenge in the end. I believe every stage of a growth needs certain people, and you have to make sure you maintain your idea. And then it comes what maybe for season managed to accomplish. They really set up this. I believe they are talking about their why or their beliefs every day.
Every day.
Right?
Yeah.
From the top to the every day, everyone gets this reminder, why are we here, and have the tools and have the after. But I'm learning. I'm a learner. I will see how it ends and where we go.
But no one knows Sharp's name. They know the Four Seasons name. So that's why it's so important that the brand stands for something.
Yeah.
So it's not about my just cause. It's about what Rêvée stands for. And so you and I have talked before. It's why people will stand online for an Apple. Apple may have come out with some dud products, and they have. And their computers may not be the best, but it's not what Steve Jobs was. It's what Apple means. Yeah. And, we hope that patients who come to us, and you probably hope patients who go to SkinMed, are more than just getting the aesthetic treatment. Yeah. They want to make a statement that this is where I go. Yeah. And so my hope is that my name of my clinic is not Dr. Green's clinic. It's Rêvée, because that's derived from a French word to dream, because we dream of a place where everyone wakes up confident in their own skin. So that wasn't an accident. We used to have a different name. So,
Lonny, let's get back to patients. Okay. How does patients benefit from a perfect world-class aesthetic team? What's the benefit for the patient?
It's all about the experience, Felix. It's all about the experience. We have when a patient walks in the door, okay, studies have shown you have 7 seconds before that patient makes your impression. 7 seconds. So everyone who's listening who has a clinic, walk in your front door. Is it clean? Is there dust? Do the windows? What does it look like? What's the feeling when you walk in? What does it smell like? What does it look like? Is there someone at the desk who's looking down? Is there someone at the desk busy? Or is someone warmly greeting you and getting that connection? You have 7 seconds to make that first impression. And studies have shown 66% of people who don't have a positive first impression tend not to return to a business. So it's the experience. So I'm answering.
Just saying, by the way, for employees, they decide on the first day whether they stay or not.
Yeah.
That's why your onboarding should be great.
Yes. And they also decide even before the first day if they believe what you believe.
Sure.
Right? And they say, wow, I want to work for this organization. I've never been to a MedSpa that goes out to and works on a farm and donates money to that. I've never worked for a MedSpa that every year, twice a year, finds an organization to support, and we do this on our own. So they believe what you believe, and there's plenty of jobs, So, yeah. So that's the experience.
Do you do certain trainings with your team in this regards? You just mentioned is it clean? Is there dust? Are they looking to me? Is it whatever? Yeah. Do you talk about that with them? Do you do that like in the training? As you said, the idea is you won't get in shape by training 9 hours. You only have pain. Right. You will get in shape by training 20 minutes every second day for a year or so, and then you will see the difference. But is that the same what you do with your employees, that you talk to these 20 minutes in the morning about these things and say...
You see how amazing you are? You just answered the question. Answered the question. Yeah. We live it every day, and we don't always get it right. But when we don't get it right, we don't sweep it under the rug. We don't criticize. We learn. Hey, what happened? Why was that patient unhappy? Where did we fall down? There's a great book called Extreme Ownership. And I don't know that book, but everything that goes wrong in our clinic, every single thing is my fault.
Of course.
And I mean that 100%.
I agree.
Yeah. And so it is a culture that we own when things don't go well, and we make little changes, but we are constantly, I tell these folks, we're good. I think we're pretty good, but we're better today than we were yesterday, but we better be better tomorrow than we were today. Our only competition is ourselves. We never pay attention to anyone else. We don't duplicate. I strive to innovate, but it's those daily little things. And when you do those little tiny things, hey, can we get that bathroom cleaned a little better? It's not just about the bathroom. They see that the reason I would make a big deal about that is because we are never done. We'll never be satisfied. Could it be a little better? But not in a demeaning way, hopefully, not in a demoralizing way. I do sometimes buffer it with Lauren because I have a tendency to come off too strong, believe it or not. But that message is the way I am. I've never compromised with patient care, ever. And I also empower them. We didn't talk about that. So here's another way, empower. I say, we were in the red for a couple of years. I always told my employees, first of all, we started in a little tiny strip mall. It was just me and a nurse. But every time we got an employee, we read the Nordstrom's Way, the book. It was all about service. They must have thought I was crazy.
You read. We had them
for
him,
yeah,
or
the book called the Nordstrom Way. Gave him the book, yeah. And so, and I always talked about aspiring. Nordstrom's is a very high level of service. They're going through their troubles now, but anyway, it's a very high level of service. And the point was, even though we were a no name in a little strip mall with just a few people, the service level had to be amazing. And I also empowered them. I said, if it takes less than $300 or less to make a patient happy, do it. Don't come to me until after the fact. But if a patient returns a product that's got 10% left and they bought it 6 months ago, just make them happy. You know why? Because if it's a recurrent problem, then okay, we're not going to get taken advantage of. But whatever they need to do to make patients happy is what we do, 100%.
We have, by the way, we have the same on it. We have this my people are allowed to give free products to everyone to make them happy. I'm always saying, no, if a patient is waiting too long, just go there with one of our products and I'm so sorry, may I give you this present? And they have the allowance to exactly work with this.
We actually, not long ago, I'm very aware of culture, and when you let someone go, it affects the whole team. It affects me. It's the worst part of the job. But this past year, we had someone who was very competent, but I have to know when a patient is reaching out. I have to know when a patient has a problem.
Yeah.
And it threw Felix. This was I can talk about it, but this was huge. We're very, very busy. If someone who's a provider is let go, that crashes our world. And yet I found out that for 2 or 3 days, a patient was reaching out and was being either, first of all, ignored, and then when talked to, just wasn't being taken care of. But the worst part was never came to me, and she was gone on the spot. Now, it was huge turmoil. She was a very busy provider. Luckily, we have other people in our clinic. Lauren's an esthetician, Carly's an esthetician, Rebecca is our executive, who was an esthetician. Everyone pitched in. And, at first, there was a little bit, I think, from the team of, hey, is this really my role? And it was a growing experience for us. And my team came through. And it's amazing. I said to them, this is just something we have to do right now. I know it's chaotic. Patients don't like switching providers. But and I'm not slapping myself on the back, but I walked the walk. I was willing to just not compromise on, we have to know when things are going wrong and reach out to the patients. It's a line I couldn't cross.
But let me link into that. What if you find out one of the new team members is not fitting, is not believing what you believe, it's not working every day, you live it every day, you have these meetings, the one is not performing, it's not heeding this direction, whatever it is. Sure. What do you do? Would you fire him, or would you work with her in one-to-one interviews and trainings? What are his steps?
I think it's really important to coach people. I think it's really important. The very first thing, and this is something I've learned in the last year and a half, Felix, is that the first thing I would do is bring them in one-on-one, and I wouldn't say anything. I just said, hey, what's going on? I'm worried about you. Are you okay? Is there something? Because their mother might have diagnosed with cancer. There's something that may be happening. So it's empathy. The first step is to listen and find out if anything's going wrong. And then, work with them, and then you coach them. And after a while, we're relatively small and it's been a relatively short journey for me. But I think after a while, those people will tend to leave of their own. If they don't make a big patient care mistake, then I am very, very slow to let them go. I think that people will go when they're ready if they don't believe what you believe. But if there's anything that remodels patient care, then I hope that's a reasonable answer.
Yeah, absolutely. We were working on our title. And I love the title you suggested. And the title is How to Build a World-Class Aesthetic Team. I love it. But it had a second title, and you allow me to talk. The first title was How to Build a World-Class Team in Aesthetics and Why Patients Always Come Second, or Why Patients Must Come Second. And I was brainstorming on this along, and I thought it's maybe my German. I don't get the sentence right, but you will explain.
I will. Thank you for allowing me to explain that. I thought maybe the title might put some people off because the patient, in my role, the patient always comes second. Now, I've been a surgeon for 20 years, and now I'm a full-time injector. And when I'm one-on-one with that room, I mean, my patient comes first in that room. But as a leader, your patient must come second. My job is not to take care of the patients. My job is to take care of the people who take care of the patients. So the patients really do come second to my responsibility. If I can take care of my people, they will take care of the patients. And so they need to see that. Now, if any patient abuses the team or is abusive, they're fired. That's no question.
Sure.
But my role is not in taking care of patients. I love my one-on-ones, but it's taking care of the team. And so I really believe that. And if that has to permeate, your team has to believe that your role, you're there as a leader looking out for them, and then they will look out for the patients. It's really true. And you can't deviate from that. You just can't. If you make a decision and you hold it up against your just cause, and it means, a patient has to leave who's been with you forever, that's okay, because your job is to take care of the team, and they'll see that you have their back, and they will work harder for you. They will stay with you. They'll believe what you believe, but you can't fake it. And you can't fake it once. If you fake it once, maybe you don't know your just cause. You have to be 100%. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes, or if you make a mistake, let me back up. If you make a mistake, you need to walk in front of that team and say, "Hey, I screwed up, guys. I owned it." The other thing is part of building a great team, and I'll tell you this. And again, this has been a journey for me because this is not my personality. My personality is everything's great. I'm in control here. I'm a surgeon. But what I've really learned in the past year and a half is how to be vulnerable. Okay, I would have thought 5 years ago, I would have said, leader. I used to say as a surgeon, I say, I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt. And now I've learned to be vulnerable and say, look, guys, I've screwed up. And I have. Early on, I screwed up big time on social media, and it was a pretty big thing. And it was early in my time, and I reflected on it, spent a long night reflecting. And then I just came and said, hey, you know what? Yeah. I see how insensitive what I said was. And I apologize to you guys. And I've apologized.
That's amazing.
Unfortunately, I've apologized to my team more often than I'd like to admit. But I get it wrong. I get it wrong. But if you can't verbalize that, if you can't come out when you're making a mistake, how can you expect them to ever? So we have a culture where, hey, it's okay. You made a mistake. I make mistakes. It's a culture. It really has to be an open. And if the leader can't say, I screwed up, guys, I'm really sorry, it doesn't work.
We're discussing the why in the beginning. I also could ask this question later off the records, but I love to have the podcast authentic.
Sure.
I was quickly, Bram, because during the inner circle, I was saying your why can maybe change over time. And I have the feeling mine did. I, for example, I allow me to go on this journey and allow me to change my why. Your why seems to be very deep. It's just this. Maybe I have to go deeper as well to really understand why am I on earth? What is driving me? But I said I had the feeling my why is different.
What's your why?
Well, I believe that my why was acting when I was young, but maybe it wasn't my true why. Then I went into medicine during my accident, and today my why is entrepreneurship. And I might need to explain what I mean with entrepreneurship. I think I did that to you. It's more the journey. I want to discover myself and want to. So, but it's a journey, and I might haven't lived my why because I was influenced by narratives, by outer voices, by not reflecting on that. And I would like to be sensitive to people coming here to Switzerland now for the inner circle and let them discover their why and maybe allow them to have different whys. Isn't that possible?
No, it's not. And I don't think you know your why. I think I know your why.
Okay.
And if you want to know your why, you know how you find out? Go to people who really know you. People who really, your friends, people who really know you. Now, it can't be your relatives. And
so what is my why?
Well, you have to ask those people, why do you like me? Why do you like me? Why am I your friend? And if you ask them enough, the first they'll say, what are you, crazy? And then you keep asking, and and finally they'll tell you. I believe, I shouldn't be telling you, but you live to create. You don't live to be an entrepreneur. You don't live to be an actor. And you can't grow up. That's what you want to be. You want to be a basketball player. You want to be an actor, but that's not your why. You're a creator. You love the juice of creating, and you've created this, and you've created a restaurant, and you've created that. And you know what? You're not done. There's more to create. But the nuts and bolts, but you create. Like that's a why, not to be an actor. Sorry.
Good to know.
And I do feel everyone has a why.
But you're right, that's the overarching topic then. Yep. Yes, absolutely. And within this, I am a creator. I can be an actor. I can open a restaurant. I can open a clinic. I fly to the moon. I sail over the out. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
That's
cool.
What you like.
Thank you for finding my why.
Listen, thank you for taking me on a bike ride.
Unfortunately, Instagram didn't accept me as a creator so far because they always say we're looking for creators.
Yeah. No, I'm amazed. You have created. I mean, look, I have now encountered your team, and you sell yourself short. You are an amazing leader. Your team believes what you do, and I've encountered enough people in the kitchen and all around your life that you sell yourself short. Your standards are so high, Felix, that your incredible entrepreneur part is constantly criticizing you because you're not as much of a technician manager, but you're wonderful at all of it, and you'll never be satisfied. It's just the way you are.
Thank you, Lonny.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last question.
Okay.
What is the aesthetic industry look like in 20 or 30 years?
Sure. Well, I have a vision.
You're the only one who said, sure. Hard person.
I have a vision of what I hope it looks like, and I'm going to work my best to make sure it happens, okay? That's what we're going to do every day. Yes. So it's going to be a place that's more individualized and more caring and more focused on different avenues. I don't know what those avenues will be. I think it's probably going to be towards more regenerative, but it's going to continue to be refined to where we are individualizing much more. And we also, I've shared with you about this idea about talking about some disorders that people have around aesthetics and the way they look. And you gave a great TED talk about the ugly face of beauty. And so we want to help people feel more confident, but they don't have to look like J-Lo to feel more confident. And so I think we're gonna get there. The technology, I don't know, Felix, but I think regenerative medicine and a place where enough of us in the industry are downplaying everyone looking the same, that it will be a place that will hopefully make the world, everyone will wake up more confident in their own skin. And that's what I'm going to do every single day while I still have a breath.
Perfect words to end this podcast.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Lonny.
Thank you for having me.
That was an amazing one. Thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Aesthetics and Biz. My guest today was Lonny Green, and I love to discuss with him how to build a great team, how to retain people, how to inspire people into what we believe and make them believe what we believe and make other people believe what we believe. And I think he has made a point, and a lot of what he said is absolutely true. The trick and the challenge sometimes is to live that every day, to implement that in your team, and to implement that in even bigger teams. So I love this episode. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe and tune in next time.